Welcome back, students. Master Spleen in the building. So I hope you had a great last event and as well a great Rotherade Community Day. But now it's time to focus on the next event that will be dedicated to the Lunar Event and to the New Year, Chinese New Year. So this event will take place from the 9th of February, 10 a.m. until the 14th of February, 1 p.m. your local time, obviously. You can find just down here an infographic with all the mons that will be spawning more in the wild. Please note as well that for the raids, it's going to be the return of Latias and Latias in raids and the first mega Gyarados raid. So I know it's a fan favorite, so don't hesitate to go out there and catch some mega energy to shine with it. Please note as well that when it comes to field task, we will be able to have this Galarian Meows that will be kind of interesting because it was until now or locked in the Meows research or in the 7K eggs. So that will be a good opportunity to have some if you haven't yet. As well, feature here the 5 km eggs dedicated to the event. And please note as well that you will be able to catch a Tauros from a limited research that will be available during the event. So without further ado, let's jump to the mons that you should focus on when it comes to PvP for this event. The first one we are going to cover is Gyarados. So Gyarados, you can run it either with Waterfall or Dragon Breath, and usually you use Aqua Tail, that is the Community Day move, plus Crunch to have some coverage. You can of course run it as well with Hydro Pump, for example, or with Outrage or Dragon Pulse if you have a legacy one. So it's kind of has a lot of play and a lot of different moveset, but I still think that I will recommend to run either Waterfall, Aqua Tail Crunch, or a Dragon Breath, Aqua Tail Crunch, a bit based on your team comps and on what you need around. So for the Great League, you should look for a 0, 14, 15 at level 16.5. And here, as you can see, pick up some nice win, but I think it's lacking a bit of bulk to really shine in the Great League. And I think Gyarados is more fit for the Ultra League and especially for the Master League, because he really reach his potential in the Master League. For the Great League, just keep in mind that if you have a high stat Gyarados, you can pick up the Lapras matchup if your opponent is not running a high stat Lapras, which is kind of common, let's say, because you will need a double legacy Lapras. So I assume that given the few Lapras spawns you can have in the wild, most of the people are running a non-optimal Lapras. Same with the Vigoroth, you can pick the matchup if your opponent is not running a good Vigoroth IV. For the Great League here, and just before moving to the Ultra League, you can have the Shadow Gyarados, but I think that for the Great League it's less optimal than the regular one, because yes, you are going to pick the Obstagoon and the Sableye matchup, but you have a bunch of other matchups that you are going to lose, and Gyarados is lacking bulk in the Great League, and if you put a Shadow instead, I think it's even worse. So let's move to the Ultra League here. In Ultra League, as you can see, he has a bit more play, let's say. You will need, for the Dragonite matchup, you really need to have a very good PvP IV if you want to flip the matchup. And against the Drifblim, just keep in mind that an XL Drifblim will be able to flip the matchup and secure the win. Here, I think that the Shadow has a bit of more play because we are at level 27.5 or even a bit more. So around these levels for Gyarados, I think there the Shadow has a bit more play, as I was saying, because you will be able to pick up more consistently the Dragonite matchup. You can pick up Giratina Origin as well and Armored Mewtwo, which are kind of common picks. As a trade-off, you lose against Cress and against Registeel, but anyway, I don't think Gyarados was a Registeel counter, so maybe that could be some nice play to run a Shadow in the Ultra League at least. And for the Master League, and that's really where I think that Gyarados shines even more. So there I made kind of an infographic to make a comparison between the Waterfall variant and the Dragon Breath variant. I think that the Dragon Breath variant is a bit better because you pick up some more matchups, but as a trade-off you lose against Togekiss. So here I think that choosing your fast move for the Gyarados really depends on your team of 3 and how you can cover the Togekiss matchup. I mean, if you are running, for example, a Dragon plus Gyarados plus, for example, Metagross, you should run Waterfall to have let's say more consistent matchup against the Togekiss. Just quickly with Waterfall, you lose against Garchomp if the Garchomp is running Sand Tomb and is able to bait you, and with the Dragon Breath you lose against the Kyogre if the Kyogre is running Thunder, because Thunder is basically a one-shot for the Gyarados. Next mon, it's going to be Kingler. So Kingler, you will use it with Mudshot, Crabhammer and X-Scissor, Mudshot being Legacy. So I decided a bit to cover Kingler because I saw a lot of people using it. So as you can see in the Great League, you should look out for a 0-9-15 at level 20, but it doesn't have that much of play. Frankly, to be honest, I don't think it worth the LTM. You can pick up some nice win. I mean, you can pick obviously with a good PvP IV, you can pick Alolan Raichu and Shadow Machamp. But frankly, to have only 7 wins on the Great League meta, I don't think it's good enough. So don't use your Elite TM unless you are a content creator. For the Ultra League, I think it has a bit more play here because you pick up some nice matchups. For example, you can pick up the Snorlax matchup if the Snorlax is not running obviously Earthquake, that will one-shot you. But anyway, and just about the Toxicroak matchup, Toxicroak XL flips the matchup, so that's a bit where, but I truly think that it doesn't worth it. Yes, it's a good month for raids and for if you are looking for a water type attacker, but I think it's too frail for PvP. Next up, it's Latias. So Latias is going to come back to raids. Here, Latias is a difficult mon because basically you need to trade the ones that were available in the research box, so at level 15, and just pray to have one that is under 1500 CP. For Latias, no, because it's easy to have. It's for Latios that we will talk about. Here, the optimal IVs for Latias in the Great League will be 1, 12, 14. And as you can see for the Latias, it picks up some interesting wins. Here you need an attack breakpoint if you want to pick up the Chestnut matchups, and you have several IV potential matchups with Mantine, with Medicham, and with Toxicroak. Obviously, you will win against Razorleaf, Tropius, but you will lose against the Air/variant. For the Ultra League, as you can see, Latias might have a bit more play here, but you have several matchups I would like to highlight. First, you need a very good PvP IV Latias, so close to 115-14 if you want to pick up the Dragonite matchup and the Shadow matchup, and the matchups that are lighted in, let's say, in yellow are IV dependent matchups. By that I mean that if your opponent is running a very good Shadow Galate or a very good Magnezone or a very good Melmetan, they can flip the matchup. And same for you if you are running a very good attack high stat product Latias, you can flip the Tangrowth matchup. For the Master League, as you can see, Latias I think is lacking some attack potential, especially if we compare to Latios. Remember, Latias is the defense-oriented one, whereas Latios is the attack-oriented one. And here, yes, it picks some nice wins, but doesn't. I don't think it is worth using in the Master League. Obviously, the Gyarados matchup is a moveset depending matchup. If the opposing Gyarados is running Dragon Breath as a fast move, it will be able to pick this matchup. So for Latios, and I know for the ones that were trying really hard how difficult it is to have a Latios for the Great League. So the optimal IV is 0-1-15 for the Great League. Here really the challenge is to have one if you like it, because I think that even if you have, like, for example, a 1-6-9, that will be already above 1500. So really here you really need to be lucky while trading. But Latios is a very interesting one. As you can see, a lot of let's say IV dependent matchups, like for example Hunter, Hypno, Jellicent, Galvantula, and these matchup, Latios is able to flip them if your opponent is not running a very good PvP IV. So same with Jellicent, for example. For Medicham, XL will be able to flip the matchup. Sableye is a bit more tricky because you will need to reach a defense bulk point. If you want to beat XL Sableye, you pick up the regular Sableye, but for the XL you need this defense breakpoint. You can beat obviously Toxic Rogue if you have a high rank, if the opponent is running a high rank, and if it's a high rank Whiscash will be able to flip it. So interesting one for sure to have here for Latios in the Great League. In Ultra League, Latias, you should go with the 2-15-15 at level 24. As you can see, better matchups than Latias. I think Latios could have some play in the Ultra League. Just would like to highlight that obviously you will lose against a Dragon Breath Charizard. You will need, let's say, high stat product if you want to beat the Dragonite, if you want to beat the Empoleon, if you want to you pick the, let's say, I think it's the Dragon Breath Giratina. Yes, you pick the Dragon Breath Giratina, but you lose against the Shadow Claw, keeping in mind that Latios is Dragon Psychic type, so let's say that Shadow Claw hurts more than Dragon Breath. And just to highlight that if your opponent is running a very good PvP IV Shadow Machamp, the Shadow Machamp is able to flip this matchup. For the Master League, so here you will look for the Hundo. As you can see, I think that here Latias could have a bit more play because it picks some nice, interesting picks. I know some of them are more premier picks, but I mean, you pick Palkia, you pick the two Giratinas. You are able to pick the Garchomp if the Garchomp doesn't bait you with the Sand Tomb. You pick up Gyarados. You pick up the Fighters. So Snorlax. So interestingly, you have some nice picks, Obviously, you don't pick Dialga, you don't pick the Malmetal, and you don't pick the Zekrom. So that's a bit those, at least for the Dialga and the Zekrom, those two dragons that are predominant in the Master League. So that's a bit something that I think will bit draw back Latias from shine in Master League, but that could be an interesting pick to use. And I especially like the fact that despite being part Psychic and Dragon, you pick the two Giratinas matchup that are Dragon and Ghost, so that's very interesting. Next up, it's Litleo. So Litleo, it's a new Pokemon coming from the last generation. I know it was like popularized by the Arrow when he reached Legend, running the Litleo, the XL Litleo in the Great League. So Litleo, you will use it with Ember, Flame Charge, and Crunch for the coverage. It's very interesting mon. If you look for the optimal IVs for the Great League, it's the free 15-14 at level 51, so best body hit. As you can see, Litleo has some nice picks, like obviously the grass type mons. It picks as well the fairy type mons. You can pick some ice types. You can pick some psychic types thanks to the crunch. Skarmory, so really an interesting one. So I really advise you to focus on Litleo. It will be in the 5 km X, so that could be an opportunity as well to farm some XL candies that you will need to power it up. And anyway, Litleo is quite common those days, so don't forget to catch all the ones that you will encounter. So I know some of you might be running Pyroar. That is the evolution of Litleo in the Great League. Let's say that I think they are very close. I mean, Pyroar has a more attack potential because it's the evolution. Obviously, is lacking the bulk of Litleo that you will power up to the level 51. And I'm highlighting the 3 matchups that are a bit different from the 2. First one is Meganium. With Pyroar, you pick up the Meganium matchup, but as a trade-off, you lose against Munchlax and Mew, and that's 2 matchups you pick up with Litleo. So next up, this is the star again of the event. It's Medicham. So Medicham, it's a real Swiss knife with a counter, and then you can use Psychic, Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, or Dynamic Punch. In my opinion, the counter Ice Punch Psychic is the best variant, but then it's really up to you and to your team needs. So as you can see, a lot of matchups here that are picked by the Medicham. I know I told that in the last video, but you have the XL, that is the 4-15-15 at level 50 point off. So obviously, if you have the resources to build an XL, it's always better. But if you don't, if you are just powering up your Undo up to the level 43 point off, you will have the same result, at least when it comes to the Great League meta. You might win and pick up some additional matchups with the XL Medicham, for sure. But if you are just focusing on the Great League meta, that's not the case. And then you can just go and you will have those additional matchups that the XL picks, that are the Azu and the Toxic Rogue, mainly the Azu and the Toxic Rogue. So really, I would advise you to go there and to just grind some XL candies, because Medicham is rank 1 currently in the Great League PvP ranking, so it's a must-have, really. Get out and farm those XL candy. And the next mod, it's going to be Persecutor, so one of my favorite mods actually. So I'm really glad to cover it. I'm really glad as well that we will be able to encounter Persecutor in research tasks, because that's a way to be able to farm some Persecutor XL candy, or to trade to have a good one, because as you cannot find it in the wild, you need to trade if you want to have one for the Great League. For the Great League, you should look for a 1-15-15. So trade with low friendship friends. It's at level 23.5. Persecutor is running Shadow Claw, Foul Play, and Close Combat. You could go as well with Iron Head if you are looking for Fairy type coverage, but usually you don't need it. You pick up most of the matchups, at least in the Great League. You pick up most of the matchups with the standard moveset. So I would recommend to still run Foul Play and Close Combat. So nice picks here. Basically, you pick up the Obama Snow, you pick up Bastiodon, Altaria, Defense Deoxys, you pick up the Ghost, you pick up the Psychic types. So the grass types that you are resisting with the Steel type. So very interesting, and a very mon that could have a lot of play in future Silph Cups. I think, for example, that you will see some in the Labyrinth Cup because of the Persecutor versatility. So really I advise you to save some and to trade to look for a good one. Matchup I would like to highlight is the Mantine matchup. So basically for the Mantine matchup, you need slightly attack one, because high stat Mantine can flip the matchup, and you need to reach an attack breakpoint if you wanna secure the win. The G-Fisk matchup is based on your opponent IVs. So if your opponent is not running a good G-Fisk, you will pick the win. And for the Wigglytuff, you will need obviously to run a very good one, obviously. For the Ultra League, and that's where I really think that Persecutor will shine the most, you should look for the 0-14-15 at level 50, so quite impossible to have at this stage. But I just would like to highlight that you could trade it, obviously, but basically you can as well power up your level 40, 41 that you might have best buddy before, a bit up to the level 50. So you will not reach obviously the level 50, but I mean you can do some power-ups to build an XL Persecutor. So as you can see, a lot of wins here. I would just like to talk a bit about the Giratina matchup. So basically, if the Giratina is running Dragon Breath, you secure the win. But if the Giratina is running Shadow Claw, you will need a good PvP IV1 to flip the matchup. And against the Togekiss, you will need kind of an attack weighted one to secure the win. And that's where I think that for the Ultra League, you could have it could have some play if you want to run it with Iron Head. Obviously, you will need to get rid of close combat, then losing some matchups that you are winning. But I assume that it has some play. I mean, for the Ultra League with Iron Head. Same with Registeel. You will need a good attack, a good PvP IV1 if you wanna secure the win. Last up, it's going to be Seeking. So Seeking was like super hype, if you remember, like 9 or 8 months ago, because it was a triple legacy mon with Poison Jab, Drill Run, and Icy Wind. So obviously, in my opinion, the triple legacy one is the best version of it, but you could as well run a double legacy one, like with Waterfall and Drill Run and Icy Wind. So very interesting mon, and I mean, if you see a Seeking, you will need to assess in your opponent's team of 6, you will need to try to think directly if it's a Poison Jab variant or a Waterfall variant. As you can see in the Great League, you should look for a 0-14-14. I assume that most of the ones that are out there are not running optimal PvP IVs. If you trade it for this legacy, for example, I highlighted a bit the difference between the two movesets, so Waterfall and Poison Jab. So you will see that with the Dark Star, that's the moveset Poison Jab, the matchup's Poison Jab is picking, and with the blue star, it's the Waterfall matchups. And if you don't have any star, it's just that I mean, the both variants are going to pick it. For example, the Bastiodon, the Azumarill matchup, the Registeel matchup, the Alolan Marowak matchup, the Mandibuzz, the Mantine. So those kind of matchups, they are you could go either way. For the other one, a specific variant is needed, and as you can see in the Great League, it looks like it's a bit tight between Poison Jab and Waterfall, so it's really up to you, maybe up to your resource to decide. But I really like this mon, it's really versatile, so I will advise to try to find a good PvP IV1, and if you want to invest then your LTMs on it, go ahead, because it's a nice trophy. And more interesting, because I think that with the inclusion of the level 50, Seeking should have play in Ultra League as a nice spice pick. Obviously you will need the Ando best buddy, so that's quite an investment, and if you want to do that, you should really grind hard on XL candies this week. And then you can see here for the Ultra League, it's a bit the same. Some matchups are picked with the Poison Jab, for example the Dragonite one, because Waterfall is resisted. You pick up the Obama Snow, you pick up Shadow Obama Snow. You can pick up the Obama Snow if your opponent is not running an XL, so nowadays most of them are running an XL. Obviously you can pick the Shadow Executor one, you pick the Charmers with the Poison Jab. You can beat Empoleon. With the Waterfall you will pick Registeel, you will pick Skarn, you will pick Swampert, you beat reliably Togekiss. So really kind of a mon that I will advise you to focus on. I really think he has some nice play here in Ultra League. So to sum it up, our first priority will be to farm XL Medicham candies. Second one will be to try to go out and to find a good Persecutor for the Great and for the Ultra League. So do as many field and research tasks as you can and trade them. Try to find a good one, and keep in mind, and we will just discuss about that in 1 minute, that it's going to be as well an event focused on trade. So if you are looking for luckies, if you are looking for it's really an event where you should trade. And last one is really to farm XL Litleo to try to build a good one. And as I was just mentioning before, kind of let's say you will be able to have luckies will be improved, so the luckies rate will be improved next week. So basically right now I think that based on the research, a lucky trade rate is 1 out of 20 approximately. So I assume we could have 1 out of 10 next week. That could be a great opportunity, and we should be able as well to have more lucky friends, more easily, plus this trade range that is going to be up to 40 kilometers. So that could be, let's say, an interesting good moment to trade all those Vullabies, all those Ponyards, all those Craggies you caught this past week, in order to try to find a good IV1. So I will focus, if you are really looking for the PvP, I will focus on the following months. For the Great League, obviously on the Purified Sableye, on the Purified Wobbuffet, on Pachirisu, if you look for Ando, and on Alolan Sandshrew for the Ando as well. Those two last months having a lot of play in my opinion, now that they can go up to the level 50 and 51. For the Ultra League, you should look for the XL Kings, so that will be the Gifisk, the Umbreon, the Skarm, the Galvantula. For those 3 months you should go with the Ando, so at level 50. The Galvantula is a bit more tricky, because I mean, if you are looking for the perfect IV1, the Ando is only rank 3, and I think it's the 12, 15, 15 you should look for, or the 13, 15, 15. It should be the 13, 15, 15. Same with Registeel. I think it's a good mon to try to have. Obviously, if you can have an XL Regi, it's even better, but even you can try to have Hundo, power it up one a bit more, up to the level 40, 40.5, 41. That could be interesting. Obviously, for PvP, if you want to use lucky trades, that's Master League is the league you should focus. Some months like Garchomp, Dialga, OO, Groudon, Kyogre, Melmetal, Metagross, Mewtwo, Snorlax, all those mon. If you don't have a Hundo yet, that could be a great opportunity to do such a thing. So I hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to stay tuned as more content is coming to the channel. Bye!